How about them Cowboys? Angry Cowboys fan. Born to battle. Some just means we never sell. America's team through thick and thin. When the sun shines bright, that's where we win. Angry Cowboys fan.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. And y'all know there's been no teams that have called the Dallas Cowboys to inquire about George Pickens when it comes to potentially trading for him before the NFL draft. Honestly, seeing that we are a week away from the NFL draft, I don't foresee any team calling the Dallas Cowboys to try and trade for George Pickens. The thing is, Cowboys Nation, I'm not surprised, and according to Mike Florio and Chris Sims, they're not surprised either. On NFL on NBC's Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio and Chris Sims talk about the lack of interest when it comes to Stephen Jones telling reporters that no team has called to inquire about George Pickens. So we're going to take a listen to the 3 clips that I got for y'all, and y'all know what we're going to do. We're going to come back and unpack this raw and uncut. So, Angry Cowboys fans, let's go ahead and take a listen to the first clip from NFL on NBC's Pro Football Talk.
Jones said that they have received no calls regarding a possible trade for George Pickens. No calls. Now, any team could bring him in and talk to him and sign him to an offer sheet, but if the Cowboys don't match it, they'd get 2 first-round picks. You're not going to see a receiver, unless it's Randy Moss in his prime, you're not going to see a receiver change teams for 2 first-round picks. But trade, like the idea that you could trade him to another team and get a 2, like DK Metcalf got, that hasn't happened yet, by way of a phone call coming to the Cowboys expressing interest in that possibility.
No, and it's not going to happen. Ding, 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 ding. Hello, Dallas Cowboys. Nobody is calling to trade for George Pickens. You've made this mess. You've traded for him. You knew his reputation, and now it's all yours, Dallas Cowboys. Ding, 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 ding. Here you go.
Chris Sims. Ding, ding, ding. You're missing the plot right now. Ding, ding, ding. Hello. You don't think that the Dallas Cowboys were expecting this when they decided to put the non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens? You really think that their hands are so tied or something? Come on now, Chris Sims, get real. Anyone can see where they were going, where they found themselves was intentional when they put that non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens. This is a kind of a no-brainer situation at this point. But I can't believe that you guys fell for the bait. But let's go ahead and jump into the second clip so we can come back and talk about it. Roll the clip.
Nobody in the league is going to go, hey, we really don't know much about George Pickens. We saw him 1 year act totally professional and according, acting, how you're supposed to act as far as an NFL player. And even with that, there was some issue where he didn't start a game when he was in Dallas and they just smoothed it over. So his reputation hasn't been rebuilt, or there's not enough good out there yet for teams to go, yeah, we'll trade away 2 first-round picks and make him the highest-paid receiver in the history of football. We'll forget about all those other weird years in Pittsburgh where they didn't even want him anymore because they were like, oh, we can't deal with him anymore, and we're just going to forget that now. No. Dallas, this is who you traded for, and he played awesome just like you wanted, and now it's time to pay the Pied Piper. Call David Mulugheta and get it going. David Mulugheta, don't have his number. You do. Call him up.
Time to pay the Pied Piper? I think you're mixing 2 analogies in there, Chris Sims. But the Dallas Cowboys don't expect any team to come and inquire about George Pickens. This is a part of the plan, Chris Sims. You're talking as if the Dallas Cowboys put that tag on him to get 2 first-round picks out of the deal. That tag is intentional for a number of reasons. I'll get into that more during the Raw and Uncut portion, so make sure you stick around for that. Now let's go ahead and dive into the third clip so we can come back and unpack this Raw and Uncut.
How do we justify Pickens? And you've said you think he's better than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
That the defenses spend more time on him than they do, more attention to him than they do to CeeDee Lamb.
Totally.
Why wouldn't a team want to trade for him? I mean, there is a risk there. You're bringing in a guy who's never played for you before. There are at least questions as to what happens when things don't go his way.
Right.
But you remember what Jason Garrett said on this program the day they traded for him. He's never had a quarterback like Dak Prescott, and that'll make all the difference.
Yeah.
And
he was
did.
right about
So,
that. Yeah.
You know, if you trade him to the Chiefs, not that the Chiefs are going to do it, but I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
Trade him to the Bills, right? You got a strong starting quarterback who can get him the ball and can provide the leadership that he needs. You'd be okay.
Yep.
But it's just like with Dexter Lawrence. What do the Cowboys want, and what does Pickens want? And it could be because he's allowed to talk. He's allowed to talk to these other teams. You're allowed to negotiate with other teams with the franchise tag, with the non-exclusive franchise tag. So it may be that they know what he wants. Ain't no reason to call it Cowboys because we're not going to pay him what he wants.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we're at right now. Exactly right.
Better than CeeDee Lamb? I don't know about that. Guys. Both players have different skill sets that separate each other. There are things that CeeDee Lamb can do that he does better, while there's things that George Pickens can do that he does better. It's the ultimate yin to the yang situation. But hey, Mike Florio and Chris Sims obviously see this in a negative light, but let's get more into it. Y'all ready for this Raw and Uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. Get ready for the Angry Cowboys fans, Raw and Uncut.
Keeping it real. They keep it real. That's real.
You know, Angry Cowboys fan family, I was blown away at the lack of understanding in this situation when it comes to George Pickens by these two guys. Why the Dallas Cowboys would even think about putting the non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens and how it would benefit the Dallas Cowboys overall. Even I was able to decipher the code. Shoot, I advised the Dallas Cowboys to put the non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens before they even did it. I mean, I know that they didn't listen to the Angry Cowboys fan, but hey, I put it out there before it happened. How could guys like you guys with credentials, miss this? But the Dallas Cowboys were actually playing 3D chess with George Pickens and David Mulugheta. The non-exclusive franchise tag shows George Pickens that they want him in the building, they want him as a Dallas Cowboy, but are willing to allow him to go out there, test the market, see if you can get a bigger deal than what the Dallas Cowboys are offering. It also is a weapon to kind of bring a player or his agent back down to earth a little bit. But you see, Angry Cowboys fan family, the psychological aspect of it all would have a player shocked at the fact that nobody's acquired for my talent. No team has tried to reach out to bring me to their team. No one has hit up David Mulugheta saying that they want George Pickens to be their wide receiver one moving forward. And according to Chris Sims, teams still consider George Pickens a crash out waiting to happen. Not only that, but in the case of losing George Pickens to a better offer sheet, the Dallas Cowboys would ensure that they would get more compensation than a compensatory third-round pick or even a second-round pick from a desperate team. Even if they were willing to negotiate with a team, when it comes to those 2 first-round picks, they will be making out more than just exclusively tagging him and trading him off that exclusive franchise tag. But how can y'all not see this? That's the question that I got, Cowboys Nation. How do these two talking heads not see it? It's as plain as day what Jerry and Stephen Jones were thinking when they decided to put that non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens. If you leave it up to the talking heads, they would have you believe that they're currently getting hit from the blind side by all this. They knew that no team would offer 2 first-round picks for George Pickens. They knew that no team would call inquiring about George Pickens. they knew that the non-exclusive franchise tag would give them more leverage when it came to negotiations in a long-term deal with George Pickens. And I know that I've complained about the Jones boys being too reactionary with their decision-making, but in this particular situation, they were actually thinking a couple steps ahead, offering the non-exclusive franchise tag so he knows that we want you on the team, but we're open enough to allow you to chase a bigger bag. When no team shows interest, Jerry and Stephen Jones come in and show interest. Let them know that the Dallas Cowboys are willing to pay George Pickens and allow him and his agent to just sit on it and digest it. That doesn't mean that the negotiations are won by Jerry and Stephen Jones. Like Chris Sims said, they still have to pick up the phone. They still have to call David Mulugheta. They still have to get in the same room and come to an agreement. George Pickens still has to sign that non-exclusive franchise tag tender before he can even start earning that guaranteed money from said tag. But I swear, Cowboys Nation, I was actually shocked to see that Mike Florio and Chris Sims actually treated this story as a shock, or that they actually thought that the Dallas Cowboys were taken by surprise from it all. Florio said that you have to be a Randy Moss type in his prime to get that type of draft capital for George Pickens. From the jump, it should have been told to them that they don't want another team to show interest or come after Pickens. They want George Pickens on the Dallas Cowboys for the long haul. But Jerry and Stephen Jones sees this offense as one that can get it done, that is good enough to make a deep playoff run and possibly a Super Bowl run. I feel this is why they extended Javonte Williams, because if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Continue to add to it by ways of extending current players and keep the scheme and the play calling as fresh as possible. In their eyes, it's the defense that needs the major overhaul, and this is what they've done this past offseason. So, to the guys over at Pro Football Talk, welcome to the party, pals. I know that Jerry and Stephen Jones can seem incompetent at times, but I promise you, in this scenario, they knew exactly what they were doing when they tagged George Pickens. They knew exactly what type of leverage it would bring them. And as for right now, another thing that they're using as leverage is time. The July 15th deadline doesn't affect them like it affects George Pickens and David Mulugheta. Jerry and Stephen Jones have their offer out there. They have their tender waiting to be signed. They've extended the olive branch. It's George Pickens and David Mulugheta who haven't accepted said olive branch yet. As of July 15th, if the deal doesn't get done, then David Mulugheta gets to have a client who currently plays on the franchise tag, when everybody knows that David Mulugheta doesn't like for his clients to play on said franchise tag. This is why Jerry Jones lives by the motto, deadlines make deals. The money for the franchise tag for George Pickens has already been subtracted from the salary cap, so the Dallas Cowboys are ready to rock with the tag going into the season. I feel this is why the contract negotiations have halted or become stagnant. They're still at a stalemate because David Mulugheta and George Pickens hasn't pinned that first deal on the table. They can't conduct business unless they sign said deal that's on the table. It's not like the Dallas Cowboys can say, you know what? Come to think about it, he can go ahead and test free agency. If they truly want him on the Dallas Cowboys, they can't go back on this franchise tag. So this is the only way to go, Cowboys Nation. The Dallas Cowboys have every right to employ the tag on George Pickens, and George Pickens has every right to refuse to sign it. What he doesn't have the right to is getting paid if he doesn't sign that non-exclusive franchise tag tender. So great call by Jerry and Stephen Jones to place that non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens, even if the talking heads don't get it. Now what they need to do is get a long-term deal done. Work with David Mulugheta so that relationship can establish and cultivate. This isn't the first time that Jerry and Stephen Jones are going to have to cross paths with David Mulugheta, and it certainly won't be the last. This has been your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. Cowboys Nation, what do you feel about the whole George Pickens situation and the non-exclusive franchise tag? Do you agree or disagree with Mike Florio and Chris Sims of Pro Football Talk? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comment section. If you're digging this content and you want to help the channel reach its current goal of 20,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video, share with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and if you're on your mobile device and you haven't used them up yet, make sure you hype this video. Doing so will help get the content out to Cowboys fans. They'll come over to the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel and want to become Angry Cowboys fans themselves. And if you are DC for life and you believe that George Pickens and Jerry Jones will finally ink the deal before July 15th, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release another video, podcast episode, or film breakdowns. You can catch the Madden 26 or College Football 26 gameplay on my other channel, the Angry Cowboys Fan Gaming channel. I'll make sure I put the link to that as well as the gamer tag in the description. Like I said, Cowboys Nation, I can't believe that Mike Florio and Chris Sims were taken by the wayside because of this non-exclusive franchise tag. I can't believe that they were tricked thinking that the Dallas Cowboys didn't know what the hell they were doing or didn't know that they were going to take the next steps in the George Pickens situation and not have leverage. Y'all have been in the game way too long for this to trick you. Even I knew better. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. 1 week until the NFL draft so all that shit can be put behind us. And I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.